Hey everybody, it's Dr. V back again with a twin flame reading for the week of April 9th through whatever next Sunday is. So basically Monday through Sunday. So I hope you're all doing well. The energies have been intense again this weekend. I've heard from a number of different people who are in the Twin Flame Connection who are having some just difficulties and challenges and overall purging, a lot of purging that's happening. Some towers that have hit in many situations. So anyway, I hope you're all doing well. Please comment and let me know how things are going for you. So I can just like to know what's going on with everybody. So I'm going to do an analysis of the partnership layout, and I'm going to start out with the Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine Reunited deck, and they're by Christabel Jessica. And I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. This is a bigger spread, so it might be a longer video, but you know how it goes. Okay, so the situation as a whole. Anubis, the god of protection. Where the Divine Feminine is in the partnership. Freya, goddess of sensuality. Where the Divine Masculine is in this connection, separation. I may have to move this, guys, so bear with me, because I'm going to make sure I have enough space for everything. Okay. Where does the partnership come from? God of wisdom, tough, God of wisdom. Where is the partnership going? Interesting, abandonment. What are the Divine Feminine's expectations? It's Mary Magdalene, God of strength. I'm going to lay out all the cards and I'll jump into the interpretation. What are the Divine Feminine's fears? Hathor, goddess of love. What does the Divine Feminine contribute to the partnership? Shadow aspect. Okay. What is the Divine Feminine lacking in the partnership? Well, that's good. Codependency. What are the expectations of the Divine Masculine right now? God of sensuality. Sorry, this layout is a little bit... Actually, just give me a second. Lo siento, my peeps. That means I'm sorry in Spanish, in case you're wondering. But I'm going to get a little more space here. All right, cool. What are the fears of the Divine Masculine? Balance. Okay. What is the Divine Masculine bringing to the partnership? Inner child. And what does the Divine Masculine lack in the partnership? What is he or she not contributing? Miscommunication. Interesting. It's interesting because this is a darker read than usual. Usually there's, this is, so basically to give you some perspective, the blue cards, the ones with the blue background are shadow aspects. And this is a, 13 card spread I'm starting with, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the cards. So about half of the cards are more of the shadow aspect of the connection. So I think that's interesting. So let's just jump right in. The situation as a whole. It starts out with Anubis, the god of protection. So how I'm taking this is, let me just read this to you briefly. I have stepped forward to extend to you some healing energies of alchemy surrounding the state of the masculine. I am an avatar of the protective nature of the masculine, and it sorrows me that the feminine feels so unfamiliar with this aspect of him. Many women in your time have not experienced the protection of the men around her enough times for it to be the connection she runs at the forefront of her mind. First, I extend a loving embrace to her and hear her cries of pain. I am affiliated with the energy of balance, along with protection, so I now bring our attention back to the fact that for every wounding experienced by one side, the other has a mirrored wound. It has hurt the feminine to feel the abandonment and feelings of not being supported, and it has also hurt the masculine. The forebears of this were living from their shadow side. The members of the patriarchy who created this energy did so out of fear and were not tapping into the true essence of themselves or source. This was painful for them. It created a template that continued on for some, and the ones that did not conform to this behavior and continued being protective and tender have been left to deal with the fallout. Many men carry subconscious guilt and shame and have been told by society that men hurt women and are not to be trusted. This is a cross that many innocent men have had to bear. And so what I'm taking from this just right off the bat is that this is again the situation. So this is the energy of this week. And so it's kind of that double-sided, it's a two-sided sword, okay? So it's like the masculine is in many ways wanting to come into his protective self, and it feels like he's also battling against the shadow aspect of not wanting to hurt somebody. So it feels like there's this aspect of that he's feeling, and I'm saying he, but you know, masculine can be a female, and its energy is not gender. So I'll try and use the divine masculine instead of he. My apologies. So what's being healed right now, and what's happening right now, is that there is this sense of the masculine energy is learning to move into more of his protective space, where he's maybe in the past in his partnership with the divine feminine has not been protective, has not taken care of her heart, has not really been in this space. You know, he hasn't been his divine self. We know that. I mean, we've been the energies of the last few weeks. It's like the feminine has been setting boundaries and taking care of herself more and more because the masculine hasn't been in that space. But he's wounded also, okay? So we have to understand that the masculine is wounded. So just because the masculine may not be behaving like a masculine, like divine masculine right now, it's because they're acting out of the wounded space, okay? So they're acting out of all of their own stuff. They have to work through their own shadow material. So the masculine is also working through some of that stuff for themselves. I'm getting, just like the card said, that they're moving through some guilt and some shame around the fact that they feel like they have dropped the ball with protection of the feminine, that they're not protecting her heart, they're not doing a good job in that sense. And also I'm getting some guilt, just collective guilt, and also guilt for their own behaviors from the past. So things that they've done in the past that have been harmful. And the feminines in this situation are feeling, I'm getting that the feeling is they're not feeling protected, and they're feeling abandoned. Some of you may be feeling like wanting to just like cut off the connection. And I'm not saying cut it off in the permanent sense, although you can always opt out of this, right? Like there's free will. You can always choose to get off the twin flame journey at any time. A lot of people don't, some people do, but I'm getting some energy of a lot of feminines just being in this place of like, you know, screw this, like this is ridiculous, like I'm not doing this anymore, and kind of just really retreating and taking some space because she's feeling abandoned and she's feeling unprotected. She's feeling like he has not taken care of her. He has not, the masculine has not been taking care of her heart, has not been protecting her, and she's feeling it and just not feeling all that wonderful about things within that sense right now. So that's just the energy that I'm getting from that. To get a little bit more clarification, I'm doing this different than I did the last one. I'm going to pull a clarifier or two. Spirit, can you give me the current energies in this divine partnership. Current energies. Spirit, please. Sorry, it took a little bit longer than I was expecting. Thank you, Spirit. The current energies in the divine love situation. Some passion. Allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. Interesting. Keep an open mind. Your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. So there's still a lot of passion there, which is probably why, you know, like I was thinking with the divine feminines that are kind of like, I'm just tired of this shit, ready to cut it off, that there may be that's a sense of passion. Like, remember that hatred, if like I'm not saying that you hate your masculine. I'm saying that when you get those intense feelings of feeling angry or feeling like F this, I just want to cut this off and like screw him, and all of those like intense feelings, those feelings are an indication of passion. You know, hate is not the opposite of love. Indifference is the opposite of love. If you're still feeling enough like passion to feel angry, to feel you know, the things that we were just talking about, it's because there's still a lot of love there. Okay, so just keep that in mind, that just because you're upset or just because you're feeling something doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't mean that your feelings aren't involved. It actually shows that they are still very much involved, and that's that. I also get a lot of just physical passion. Like, there's still this magnetic appeal. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if some of you hear from your counterparts that they're having intense sexual dreams about you. I wouldn't be surprised at all. So there's two sides of that. Of course, like I always say, like there's two sides to everything, right? A light side and a dark side. And so there is some passion that's going both ways in terms of like frustration and also just the sexual desire. It's like, keep an open mind, okay? So what I'm getting from this is that I really do get the sense, and like I said, I've talked to a lot of feminines that have been like feeling a sense of frustration, a little bit of frustration around, like, you know, especially if their divine counterpart is still in a karmic situation, and it's like they recognize that the connection is powerful and it's special and it's beautiful, and they, you know, stop thinking about it, can't get you out of their mind, and then they're still in this karmic situation, and you're like, what the F is going on? So what this is saying is, like, keep an open mind, okay? This is a process. It's a work in progress. Like, it's not going to come immediately, as much as we would all like it to. So keep an open mind, be patient, and continue to work on yourself, right? Remember, like the card said, like, we mirror each other. So if they're experiencing a wound, then you're experiencing a wound. So it's like, really continue to work on healing yourself so that you can move yourself and your life forward. Okay, so the next card is where the divine feminine is in the partnership, and this is Freya, the goddess of sensuality. So this is a really beautiful card, really beautiful energies, and I want to read to you from this one. She shows up to help you reintegrate the sensual energies that you hold within. I wish to assist the feminine in reclaiming her healing power through her sexuality. Let us hold hands together in doing this by discussing the old traumas and beliefs that have been instilled within the feminine that are holding her back from unleashing this power. The trauma that women as a collective have suffered is deep and goes back far in time. So many women in history and today in this time of earth have experienced heinous sexual abuse, the misuse of her body against her will, and this hurts us as a collective severely. I ask you to research sexual healing, as it is a possibility that even small occurrences of trauma may have affected you at some point in your past. So on and so forth. Like, this is about beliefs about sexuality, sex shaming, slut shaming, women feeling disconnected from their sexuality, and so on and so forth. Which I think also goes back to, ties in with this card, like not being protected, like the divine masculine feeling guilty about not having protected you and not being able to protect you. And it also ties in with the sensuality card, the passion card that came up earlier, from the Romance Angels deck, that a lot of the feminines are working on healing some of those sexual wounds, and really just coming into her own power as a sexual being. Like, I'll tell you what, as a woman who's been through this process, like, there is nothing more empowering than becoming in charge of your own sensuality, like healing those old wounds of abuse and trauma, and then taking ownership for your sensuality. The way that it invigorates and lights up your life is like nothing that I can't explain it to you. It's just absolutely, it's amazing. It's life transforming. So that's where the energy is for the Divine Feminine this week, is really working on that. And her fears are separation. So this is telling me two things, okay? So this is like, there may be, if you're in separation, or if you're not feeling communication, or you're feeling disconnected, then that may be what's going on. But what this is also telling me is that the feminine in many ways is feeling afraid to be in separation. Which means that if you're still afraid to be in separation, then you're attached to the outcome, which means that you're not surrendered. So it's really important to do that work. It's really important to do the work to heal the separation, to heal that, which goes back to what I feel is the core wound of abandonment, right? If you feel like you can't be separate, if you feel that, then it's probably rooted in abandonment, and that is something to be addressed of. But you have to remember that we're never really separate, right? It's easy for us to say that. I mean, I understand that it's not so fun to experience when you're in separation, but you're never really in separation from your masculine, because you're connected. You've been connected through lifetimes, since eternity. So you're never really separate. It just feels like that. What I'm also getting from this, the energy I'm getting from this, is that there may be some of you that need to separate and you're afraid to. There may be some of you that need to draw a line in the sand and say, I love you and I'm going to continue loving you and I will always love you. But until this situation, or until you get your poop in a scoop, I'm not interested in continuing in this with you. This is not working for me. It's draining, it's stressful, whatever. It's not good for me, whatever. But you're afraid to do it because you're afraid that if you set that boundary or say no, that the masculine's going to bail. And that is, hint, hint, a little codependent. So if you're putting your own needs and your well-being on the back burner because you're afraid of separating and cutting ties and drawing a line in the sand, then that means that you're operating out of a place of lack. So that's just the message that came through with that. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the next one, which is where does the partnership come from? And this is Thoth, the god of wisdom. And it's a beautiful card. I just love this one. I want to look at this. This is kind of like the way that this is written on the spread is where this partnership comes from. But I really feel like this is sort of like bigger picture. God of wisdom, I have come through today to bring forward an initiation for you. I'm known as the messenger of the divine. I'm strongly connected with wisdom, and I'm here to bring up some stirrings within you of wisdom. Let me remind you, let these words speak to the core of your being. Just as I am, this is what you are, a messenger of the divine. I asked you to research the 144,000 prophesied light workers that are now on Earth, creating an unstoppable wave of healing, change, and expansion. You are either part of that original group or a second waver that has been directly affected by the energy sprouted by the initial number. As a lover of wisdom, knowledge, and messages of spirit, I have a divine assignment for you. I ask that you learn about my emerald tablets. I am depicted within my card creating these tablets. As every single person is indeed the universe itself, each person has the potential to carry forward the divine messages available to all with a bit of intention. It's time to spread the seed of wisdom to all, to bring forward a golden age in the most powerful way, jumping onto the highest timeline possible. So what this is saying to me is like the higher purpose and what's going on, where this comes from is literally about, you know, the divine, the two of you, divine masculine, divine feminine, elevating the consciousness, shifting the paradigms of love, and healing, doing their healing work in the world. That's literally what this is about, which is positive, right? We know that, and it's a positive message. So where is the partnership going? Abandonment. I don't love this card, to be honest with you, but it's actually what I'm getting from this is that this partnership is going to heal. It's triggering, as we can see with like the separation card for the feminine, that a lot of this is that's coming up right now to be healed is the abandonment wound. Abandonment is never because of you. Let me repeat that. Abandonment is never because of you. Let that paint every part of your energy field. It's not because you're unworthy. It's not because you're unlovable. It's not because there's something about you that deserves rejecting. It is caused by someone not having the capacity to be present with you. Hurt people hurt people. And every single human is hurt in some way or another. Yeah, basically it's like if someone doesn't have the capacity to show up for you, then believe them and recognize that it's not about you. So feel the pain and move forward. So what I feel is like this could actually be a literal, I know this isn't positive, you guys don't want to necessarily hear this, but this could literally be about a period of separation where one or both of you feels abandoned by the other. It could also be that there's energies of abandonment that are coming up that are really being triggered within both people, and whenever they are triggered, they're coming up to be healed. So let me pull a couple of clarifiers on that. So the first card that came up is love yourself first, and the next one is romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. Okay, that's interesting. So I'm getting a sense that like when I got those two cards and the energy that came through, the message that came through is just essentially that that part of this is about really doing that work of loving yourself, right? Love yourself first. Like that's part of that is healing that abandonment wound. And then the other piece is about this like this romantic feelings card. What this says to me is really that that one or both parties are afraid of abandonment, or afraid of kind of like diving in, and so there's some part of them that's holding back and maybe like ready to retreat at any moment because it's too threatening and I'm afraid that this person's going to abandon me, that kind of thing. But it's like, trust your feelings. Trust that these feelings that you feel are real and they're worth exploring. Don't doubt the connection. That's the message that just came through. Like if you know in your knower that this is your divine counterpart, don't doubt the connection. Okay? That's what Spirit wants you to know. So the next card is the Divine Feminine's Expectations, and it's Mary Magdalene, the goddess of strength. So what she expects, you guys remember this is just the energies of this week, and the way that the energies have been shifting lately, like this could last and change tomorrow. It's been so crazy going forward, changing. But this is about literally the feminine stepping into her divine feminine energy. And also that it's like, this card says, women are also designed to have times of introspection. In your time, many women have learned to be pillars of strength, never failing in their resolve, moving forward day after day, never feeling safe to let down their guard, to take a moment of solace, to soften and ease into their natural goddess cycles. It saddens me when I see people feeling unsafe in their emotion, unsafe to be anything other than a pillar of strength. So on and so forth. It's like it takes time, or it takes strength to deeply feel, to allow yourself to be held. It is a different type of strength to that of being an unwavering pillar. If you pulled this card, you're at the forefront of changing this paradigm, returning to feeling, returning to softness and emotion and balance. So what the Divine Feminine is, where she is right now in her expectations, is what she's understanding is that this connection is really helping her to grow in her strength and her capacity to feel. I feel like a lot of people have been avoiding feeling, and a lot of Divine Feminines, and for a long time people just have avoided feeling, right? You self-medicate on social media and alcohol, drugs, whatever. And I feel like now the Divine Feminine is moving into a space of really like, okay, I'm done not feeling, I'm done like hiding my feelings, I'm done feeling like I have to just be strong all the time, that I can't be supported and I can't be soft and I can't be strength. That she's really releasing that and moving more into that other space of allowing herself to be both strong and tender at the same time. It's really beautiful. And her fears, the Divine Feminine's fears, is Hathor, the goddess of love. And what immediately comes out is that she is the Divine Feminines. Many are fearful that that this love isn't going to come to pass, that she's not going to have this love in this life. So there's some fear associated with that. Yeah, really. I think I did something off in this reading. Sorry. I think I said earlier, I totally did. That's so weird. I've never done that before. This is the fears card, and I actually read this boundaries or the separation card as the fear. But this is actually, sorry guys, this is actually where the Divine Masculine is and is feeling the separation. So the Divine Masculine, where he is in the partnership, or where the Divine Masculine is in the partnership, is actually in this separation energy. So the Divine Masculine may be pulling away. The Divine Masculine may be fearing separation. The Divine Masculine may be feeling the feminine pulling away. Or there may just be some separation on the horizon. I am so sorry, that has never happened before. But this is what the Divine Feminine fears. I said that wrong earlier. I just read the spread wrong. My bad. But the essence of what I said remains, so take it if it still applies, and if not, just dump it. So the Divine Feminine I feel is that she's afraid that the Divine Feminines are afraid that this love is not going to come to pass, that it's never going to come to fruition. But it's also about there's a fear of her stepping into her power, into her fully liberated kind of wild woman goddess energy, that is just like standing in her power, speaking her truth, doing the darn thing. I really feel it. So there may be some of you that are engaging in self-sabotaging behaviors or limited thinking, or any kind of something that's keeping you from playing big. So it's like if you feel yourself like procrastinating on things, or you're like, I know I should be meditating every day, but I'm not able to, or I don't have time to do my, say my mantras and, any of that stuff. It's like that's fear stepping into your power. And this is about learning to live from this space of love. And so there's some feminines that are just fearful of this right now. And that's because that's a lot of freaking power. Let's just be honest. Like once you've tapped into that power, it's big. And it's a big shift. And a lot of us, even if we want change, we still resist it because change is scary. So just give yourself some space, but really recognize that a lot of it is the feminines that are afraid of, that on some level that this connection is not going to come to pass, and that they're not going to find, have the love that they desire in this life. But also a little bit of fear of stepping into your power and like fully stepping into it. Okay. So what does the Divine Feminine contribute to the partnership? Shadow aspect. So what I take this to mean is that the shadow aspect is coming up. And so the divine feminine is, you know, it's this way that it's labeled, contribute to the partnership. I think that the divine feminine is very conscious of the shadow aspect. So the divine feminine is feeling it, right? Okay, so you're feeling it. I don't know about you, but I am feeling these energies like, holy cow. There are some things that I'm just like, I know it's what's going on. I just sense it. It's like spirit is downloading things, and it's so fast and so rapid and so intense. But a lot of that is the shadow stuff that's coming up to be healed. It's like, you know, the abandonment, the insecurities, the ego, all of those those things. And so I feel like the feminine is what she's contributing to the partnership, is that the feminine is really willing to kind of dive right in and just face this shit head on. The masculines may be more in an avoidant energy, but the feminines are like really willing to dive in and do the work. So it's like she's like, oh, there's an abandonment, oh, cool, abandonment wound, let me deal with that. Oh, there's ego, let me deal with that. Oh, this, let me deal with that. And so I really feel like that's her contribution. That's really really great right now. And what does she lack in the partnership? I actually really love this. She lacks codependency. Like the feminine at the core is like, I'm not willing to be codependent. She's really, you may not feel it, but the feminine energy is really super, super healthy right now and becoming healthier by the day, which may be part of, well, maybe I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, but she's like, the feminine is just like, I'm not interested in a codependent relationship. So, you know, I'm not going to enable your complacency. I'm not going to participate in these things. I love you with everything, but I'm just like, you know, I'm stepping out of this codependent energy where I feel like I need you, right? That separation, the fear of separation, the fear of abandonment. Like she's stepping into her power. She's stepping into her full power as a feminine. She's stepping into her strength with, you know, the Mary Magdalene card, and facing her shadow. And she's like, but I'm not going to be codependent. Like if this needs to, you know, if there needs to be separation for a while for things to work out, then that's fine. Like, but I'm not going to like be in these like crazy cycles. Okay. So, moving into the divine masculine. What does the divine masculine, what are the divine masculine's expectations? God of sensuality. And if I might go ahead and point this out to you, the feminine drew the goddess of sensuality. So some pretty awesome mirroring. So what does the divine masculine expect? Dionysus. Hello, I've come forward to speak about how the feminine and masculine merge together during sex. As two sides of polarity of energy, it's no surprise that men and women would experience sex differently, including arousal. These differences have caused some conflict and caused a rift between the two, each not always finding understanding for the other. Let's break down some of this now so that we can start bringing the beautiful ecstasy of physical union back to earth, because let's face it, who doesn't want to experience sacred sexuality? So this is basically saying like arousal starts in their sacral area and then the heart builds, then the heat builds and rises to their heart. Women start from the heart and go down to the sacral chakra. So yeah, so it's basically saying like that's what his expectation, but he expects this connection. The divine masculine expects this connection to be one that is of that sacred sexual nature. Like the masculine understands that if you haven't had physical sexual contact with your masculine, then, or your counterpart, then it's hard to imagine. But when you have, and you feel that merging and the melding that happens, and it's like just out of this world experience, then you understand that. And the masculine gets that on a core level. He's really understanding that this is about, this connection is a really important part of that is the sensuality. and he's feeling a lot of passion. Like he really, I got this earlier with this passion card, that the masculine's really feeling a lot of passion toward the feminine. Just sort of, again, it's like I'm getting this idea. Do you guys, sorry, just bear with me on this one. Like I literally get the idea, like the image in my mind of like the masculine's just like a thought popping up into their head about their feminine, and like having a visceral body response, whether, you know, if that's a masculine and male body, like having an erection, or a masculine and a female body becoming aroused. I really feel that, like, when they think of their counterpart, like the shit is off the chain. Like they cannot deny that it's like incredible, and they're becoming increasingly aware of it. And now I feel like I should do my porn music, like bow chicka wow wow. Okay, sorry. Y'all know I got a little bit of a weird side. So the fears of the masculine, it's balance, coming into balance. It's so funny because what this is saying is like balance is a piece of surrender, right? So why would somebody be fearful of that? Why would somebody be afraid of coming into balance? Well, first of all, it means you have to face your shit, right? So like, again, we're talking, if you've been a workaholic for 20 years as a means of avoiding your life, then coming into balance means that you have to not use work as an avoidant tactic. It's like if you have, if you've been overly ego-based, then you recognize that you need to come into balance with that, which means you have to do some healing. So what is the masculine afraid of? He's afraid of facing his shit so that he can heal it and come into balance. He's afraid to, so it feels like almost energetically like there's like the masculine has had sort of like a death grip on the way that he's done things, the way that the divine masculine has done things in life. And like to come into balance means surrendering some of that. It means like letting go of some of that. It's like the masculine has had a death grip on all of these things to try to keep things under control and in order, and it's hasn't been working. It's not going to work, and there's some fear associated with releasing that and letting it go. Yeah. So what does the divine masculine contribute to the partnership? What is the divine masculine bringing in? Inner child. Y'all, what just came through, the first thing that came through is that the masculine is, what he's bringing in is like a very childish energy. I mean, that's the first thing that came through, like a very immature energy that like, and I don't mean that in a critical way. I mean in a very loving way, but it's like if somebody has experienced trauma and they've experienced pain, abandonment, things like that in their life, and they never did the work to heal it, then they will carry a lot of, basically like their emotional maturity will stop at an early age. So there's that. And like I get the sense that the divine masculine's really like, his inner child is like screaming out right now, like, please heal me, because I want to be healed. I want this love. I want all of this amazing goodness that I feel when I'm with my divine feminine. But my inner child is so much in the driver's seat right now, that I can't do it, because the divine feminine has stepped into more of the divine mature energies, and the divine feminine is like, I don't need a wounded warrior. I need someone who's done their work and has moved into their divinity so that we can be divine together. And that is, again, not a knock to the divine masculines. Like, to each their journey, right? We're all where we are. Plus, I feel like the divine masculine is like learning, like growing by leaps and bounds. Like, I feel like once the divine masculine really gets it and starts doing the work and grows, that he's going to probably surpass the feminine in terms of growth in a very short period of time. But anyway, it's not a competition. It's just what I'm sensing. But what he's bringing into the union right now is just this like inner child, wounded energy. that he's probably doing stuff that is hurting the divine feminine because he's acting out of this energy, and probably it doesn't even know how to stop. Right? It's like having like a kid when they're having a tantrum and they're like screaming. I don't know. I have kids, and I'm thinking about like when they would. My daughter in particular, she's such a doll, but she would get herself so worked up, and then she'd like, and I'm like, this isn't helping anything. Like, this isn't going to make you feel any better. Like, you know, getting so upset isn't going to actually help the situation. And so it's kind of that energy where it's like, I know it's not helpful. I know it's not good, but I'm doing it anyway because I don't know how not to, because I'm a child and I'm hurt and I'm scared. So that's what I feel like the masculine is bringing in right now. And what is he or she lacking? What is he not contributing? Is miscommunication. So what this says to me is that it's not that they're not miscommunicating. It means that they are miscommunicating like a lot. So they're not communicating their feelings. They're not telling their truth. What they're lacking and what they're not contributing is communication. So some of you may be in communication with your divine masculine, but you're not getting like real communication. You're kind of like, well, okay, I don't even know what that is. Like, it's surface communication, or it's inconsistent, or it's up and down and all around the map, and you're just like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. So what the divine masculine is bringing in is just this energy of miscommunication. And again, I think it's really tied with this card because it's like, I wrote an article about this earlier this week, or last week, actually, about the fact that boys and men are socialized against talking about their feelings and experiencing their feelings. And so by the time that they come into adulthood, it's like, outside of, you know, aggressive touch in terms of sports, or sexual touch in terms of partnership, like they don't really have a lot of opportunities for non-sexual platonic touch. Excuse me. And they don't know how to communicate about their feelings because they haven't been, you know, taught that. So I feel like that's what's happening right now. So this reading right now just feels very much like things are, you know, the energy is a little bit rocky right now. It has been for a while, actually. It's just that it feels a little bit more rocky than it has. So I'm going to pull these cards up, and I'm going to do really, really quickly. I'm going to use the Psychic Tarot of the Heart. And basically, like, what does the divine masculine want the divine feminine to know? What does the divine masculine want the divine feminine to know? Financial and material changes. Light. Victory and success. So what this says to me is that the divine masculine wants the divine feminine to know that right now he's working on financial and material. He's really focused on that. So there's a sense of, if you feel like the masculine has retreated or something like that, that he's really working on, and this is what's coming through, is like kind of stacking his paper so that when it's time to make those moves and come together, that he's in a good space to do it. Like, he doesn't want to be in a space where he's not able to provide, or that he's like, I feel like a lot of divine counterparts are in like karmic situations because of financial issues, and so they're looking at how to do that. And also material changes is like, I feel like if they're in a karmic situation, if they're they're looking to make changes that are going to make things better. Okay. But they're experiencing some challenges right now. So there's material and financial concerns that are happening right now. So maybe they're, you haven't heard from them or you haven't been talking, and that's why, because they're feeling some concerns. And it's like when, especially like for the masculine energy, like when their money's not right, like when their paper's not good, like they're not good as a whole. So yeah, that's where that is. But they want you to know that they're moving toward the light as well. That they're coming out soon. Will be coming out of this dark night of the soul that they've been experiencing, and that they're going to be moving toward the light. Like they understand that they want the prosperity, they want the bliss, they want the that's what they want. That's what they really want. And the thing is that I'm getting this, that they understand, that the masculines really truly understand on a core level that that's only going to come through their connection with, not only going to come, let me backtrack. They understand that if they're going to be in partnership with somebody and they're going to shine and they're going to be like the force that they know they can be and that they want to be and that they're meant to be, that it's only going to come by being connected to their divine counterpart. They understand that and they want to move toward that. This also suggests to me that there may be some truths that are coming to light. So if they haven't been honest, or if there's been things that haven't been coming out, I feel like those things will be coming to the light, and there's going to be some truths that are spoken. There's going to be some things that are revealed. And then this last card is they want you to know that good news is on the way. This is like things are. It's suggestive of obviously victory after a challenge. So it's like they want you to know that they're like climbing this mountain. It's challenging. It's not easy. It hasn't been. There's been those challenges. They're moving toward the light and they're headed toward victory. Like victory is coming, and they want you to know. I really get this energy of please be patient. Like don't give up on me. Like I'm coming for you. Just don't give up on me. Okay. So what does the divine feminine want the divine masculine to know? Okay. Third eye chakra. Ooh. Foundation and achievements, and patience and planning. You guys, seriously, like these cards mirror each other so well. So she wants, the divine feminine wants the divine masculine to know that her third eye chakra is open. She's communicating with spirit. She's probably letting him know too that she's communicating. She wants the divine masculine to know that she's communicating with his higher self. So if he's getting messages from her and he's kind of like, if you're a divine masculine and you're watching and you're like, I feel like my divine feminine is like saying things to me, but I'm not sure. She's like, yep, that's me. So her higher self is communicating with your higher self, and she's dropping, knowledge to you spiritually and telepathically. But she's also very connected with spirit right now. And because she's connected with spirit, she's weathering these challenging times pretty gracefully. And she's also working on her foundation, like setting foundation and achievements. Like she's stacking her paper too. Like she's getting her poop in a scoop. Like she's getting her shit together so that she can be ready to move forward when it's time to move forward. Like if there are financial issues or if there's been financial limitations in the past, the divine feminine is working on that. She's working on getting that together so that she feels like when she comes to the union that she has a lot to offer, and that when they come together, they'll be better together. And she also wants the divine masculine to know that she is being patient. She's exercising patience. She's planning for the future. She's planning ahead. I get the sense that she's just like, honestly, like a lot of feminines, I feel, are like literally doing things like planning their Pinterest wedding. Literally like sitting on Pinterest and like planning a wedding, looking at rings, doing all this stuff where it's like logically it makes no freaking sense, right? It's like, well, yeah, that sounds great. We're going to go ahead and do this like I'm going to plan my imaginary wedding to a person who's currently in a relationship with somebody else, and or whatever. And it's like all these obstacles and barriers. But in her mind, she's like, look, I'm just like biding my time. I'm being patient, and I'm planning for the future. So she wants the divine masculine to know that regardless of what's happening on the surface, she is being patient. She is planning ahead, and she is doing her part in this. So beautiful. Okay, so lastly, I'm going to pull some cards from the Lover's Oracle. Okay, so the first one is going to be the Divine Masculine's heart message to the Divine Feminine. Okay? These cards are a little different, and so I'm shuffling them back here, but I just want you to see them. I guess I can shuffle on camera. Oh, well, I'm just going to go ahead and take those two that jumped out. This first one is the Divine Masculine. Look at that. Okay, this is this card. Divine Masculine's message to the Feminine. Sacred union. Honor and treasure your relationship, for it's truly sacred. And the Divine Feminine's message to the Masculine is, when you pass from this world, you take nothing with you but your soul and the memories you have shared with those you love. So what I'm getting from that, from her, like the message from the Masculine is really clear. Like I get, he's like, I know what this is, you know what this is, like let's treat it as such. Okay, but with her, what the message from the Feminine is like, I get what she's saying is like, look, man, like you don't have forever. Don't focus so much on like material stuff and things that aren't going to last. Focus on the things that really matter. And she really wants him to know that. And lastly, I know this reading is getting long, but is the final message from the universe. I'm only going to pull one tonight, but this is the, excuse me, Mystical Shaman Oracle. And this is just some, encouragement, advice, wisdom from Spirit to you, lovely watchers. The final message that Spirit wants you to take away for this week. Just one, Spirit, just one. That is funny. We got this earlier this week. The Smoky Mirror in reverse. Understanding the shadow of the human journey requires that you go deep into your story to discover the wound that prevents you from seeing the truth of your current situation. Your fears and expectations of disappointment and unworthiness may be clouding your capacity to see the potential in yourself and others. The smoky mirror may be showing you things that you don't want as a result of your conditioning. These can become even more real, but only because you're making it so. The choice is yours. The world will hold you accountable for what you create. Can you see through the eyes of truth instead? So this card is saying, like, Spirit is saying, like, have some faith. Like, what are you bringing into your reality by the thoughts that you're having? Are you thinking thoughts of abundance and love and creativity and generativity and happiness, or are you thinking thoughts of negativity? And if you're thinking thoughts of negativity, then you got to stop that, get it together, okay? Really, like, what you think about, you bring about. So the universe is saying, like, focus on the good, focus on the love, focus on the positive. You have the ability to create your own experience. So anyway, I hope this reading was helpful. I love you all, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I'll talk with you soon. Bye.